Rev up your engines!
Well, showing that the tides are turning away from battery electric cars, Nissan just killed its upcoming U.S.-built subcompact EV crossover. You know, Nissan had the Leaf for a long time, their electric car, and they were going to build one a little bit bigger. And now they're saying, nix, we are not going to build it, because they realized people aren't buying them. They're going to build it in U.S. factories, and they were supposed to put $500 million cash into a Canton, Mississippi factory, which they are no longer going to do. Realize this. Last year, sales of 10 compact electric crossovers in the United States topped 200,000 sales, the whole country, right? Almost all of those models, except for 3 of them, sold less than 20,000 units. It makes no sense for a big company like Nissan, Honda, Toyota to make models that sell less than 20,000 a year. It's not an economically feasible thing. There's the economy of scale, and especially with electric cars that have new technology, you got to spend a lot more money making a factories, building them, and of course everybody knows when you build something new they have bugs and their sales are not going to be great because people say, I bought one of those, a piece of crap, was broken from the get-go, didn't work right. So it makes no sense to build things that people aren't buying, and it's competitive now. Back in the day, the only electric car you could really get in the United States that could go any distance was the Teslas, and they pretty much took that market up. So now even Nissan's starting to bail out. No, we're not going to build this subcompact SUV. Subcompact SUVs sell like hotcakes if they have gasoline or hybrid engines in them. The hybrids are what's taking over. Maybe they'll start making a bunch more hybrids, but they're cutting the cords on a whole bunch of these electric vehicles. Well, Ford certainly got to mess with their battery electric vehicles. You remember a year or so ago, they were telling all their dealers, you got to spend all this money in infrastructure, 6, sometimes 7 figures, to set everything up for fixing, for having charging stations for battery electric cars, right? Well, a bunch of the Ford dealers said, no, we're not going to spend money. And they were going to say, well, then you can't sell the electric cars. But then later Ford said, no, any of you can sell electric cars. Please try to get these things out of our hands, right? Well, of course, that itself is a stupid move, because then they would allow Ford dealers to sell electric cars, but not have the mechanics that can fix them, not have charging stations there to recharge them, right? And the funny thing was, their original rule was you got to have 3 of these chargers at your station. Only 3 of these chargers for the whole place, right? And they'd be working on them when they break, and they'd say, well, you got to wait because we got 8 people waiting to charge at our stations because we only got 3 of them. They didn't want to put enough money in. Of course, that would bite them in the rear end, too, the people that do buy them when they have problems and they find out they're waiting forever to get the things fixed. So that didn't pan out that well. Well, now Ford says they're going to pay these people back some of the money that they put into their electric infrastructure, but they're not sure how much. So now in 2025, not only has Ford dropped its requirement for DC fast chargers, but for the people that put them in, they say they're going to give them some money back, but they don't know. Somebody leaked the statement that they have, and one thing that the bulletin said they might do is they might give them $10,000 per level 3 charger that they installed, plus $2,000 for every electric vehicle that they sell through 2026. They're giving them bonuses to try to get rid of these electric cars. Out of the options that they have, they say that the most a dealer could get would be $240,000 back for selling them and for putting chargers in. And they also had a third option that they'd say they give dealers immediate payments of $40,000 per level 3 charger, up to $120,000 if they've already put them in. But then they wouldn't get money back for each EV sold. So they got all these plans to try to force them to get these stupid EVs sold, which people don't want to buy. They are pushing. But a lot of people don't understand about the car business is this. Car dealers don't own the cars on the lots. Some small ones might, but most of them, they have a loan from a bank for millions and millions and millions of dollars. Before they sell them, they got to pay every month the note to the bank what's owed on that car. So they don't want an electric car that's sitting on a lot for a year. I have seen electric Silverados that have been sitting for a year. Chevy dealers, guys I know that work there, say, boy, we don't want these electric. Nobody wants to buy them. We're stuck paying for them, right? And Ford's now trying to push them, give benefits to the dealers to get rid of those things. But hey, they're still building them and trying to throw more at them. If you know anybody who's a friend of yours, they'd probably tell you the same thing. If they worked at a Ford dealer, they'd say, yeah, we don't want these electric electric cars. Nobody's buying them. They're forcing them upon us. They're not going to make an open statement like that because, they're a Ford dealership. But if you know anybody like I do on the inside, that's what they're going to tell you. Here's one I can't resist. Ford is recalling nearly 273,000 Bronco Sports and Mavericks because they have 12-volt battery problems. Now, they already had electrical problems in the first place, and Ford had to recall them for that. But now they're finding out that, the batteries are shorting out too. They're no good. Well, you know what the commonality of Ford Mavericks and Ford Bronco Sports are? Those are all made in Mexico. Now, the Bronco Sport is made in Mexico. The regular Bronco is made in the United States, but the Sports are all made in Mexico. So you got two Mexican-made vehicles, and they're saying, well, our supplier gave us bad batteries. Build stuff down in Mexico, the land of quality. Yeah, the land of no quality. No bueno, right? So they're buying these cheap Mexican batteries for them down there in Mexico. And now the batteries don't even hold up on these new vehicles. I warned people. I said, why do you think these guys are moving their manufacturings to Mexico? Because they can get them built cheaper. Pay people less money there, right? And you know what happens when you do that? Your quality is not pristine. And look at this. They can't even make the batteries right. They've been making batteries for hundreds of years. And now they can't even make batteries right down there. And these aren't hybrid batteries. These are just plain old 12-volt batteries. And now they're going to recall them because they're bad. I mean, it's ridiculous. If you see your car is made in Mexico, if you're thinking about buying a car, you can look. The VIN number, the first number will tell you. Do a little research, you'll see if it's this number, it's made in Mexico. Don't buy it. Look for something else. That's what I say. Well, it looks like Subaru is making an interesting turnabout. They're not going into fully electric cars. They're going into electrification of cars, meaning they're pushing a bunch of hybrids. Subaru was never that big in hybrids, but now they're starting to ramp up hybrid production. For example, they're going to have a hybrid version of its Forester coming early 2025, updated hybrid-powered Outback, and if you ask me, that's a smart move. What have they found? They found that people don't want to buy battery electric cars. They got range anxiety. Hybrid cars are the exact opposite. They go so far, it'll make your head spin. Some of these hybrid cars have over 600-mile range. You can't argue with that, right? And then, no matter where you are, you can fill them up with gasoline. You don't need to find a charging station. You can just fill them up with gasoline. They're hybrid cars, right? And, of course, let's say you're thinking about buying an electric car. Here's my advice. Don't buy a fully battery electric car. Who knows what the technology is going to go there. But buy a plug-in hybrid. Some of these plug-in hybrids can go 65 miles of normal driving, city highway, on battery alone. So you could pretend you have a 65-mile electric car. Keep plugging it in, charging it up, la-ti-da. But you'll never be stranded because when the battery goes dead, before it goes dead, has a certain percentage left, the gasoline engine kicks in and you can drive it as far as you want by filling it up with gasoline. And if you really care about an electric car, well, then when you make it home with that, you can just plug it in. A plug-in hybrid, of course, you can plug into your house. A regular hybrid, no, it just runs off its own system. So you can't charge the battery directly into your house. It has to be running through your hybrid gasoline and battery system. It regenerates electricity when you're braking, all that good stuff, but you can't plug those in. A hybrid plug-in, though, you can. And maybe try one of those if you're thinking about electric cars. And then you got the best of both worlds. And as it stands today, the hybrids are still cheaper than the fully electric cars, even the plug-ins. So, hey, why not try that? Subaru seems like they make a pretty smart move. Not wasting a bunch of money in research, building these stupid battery electric cars that nobody really wants. Well, I warned people not to buy Jeeps because they're not made very well anymore. Well, get this. Now they are recalling 63,000 Jeep Cherokees because they can lose power and brake function. And it's all based on, guess what? A poorly seated output shaft ring to the power transfer unit can be damaged, and it can just disengage the transmission. That also messes with your anti-lock brake system because they can't make a ring right that seals it. Now, I'm telling you, the quality of Jeep since Stellantis took over has gone down. It was bad enough. Now the quality went straight down with Stellantis. Hey, I warn people, these things are not very well made. Jeeps used to be really well made. but they aren't anymore. Who knows what's going to happen with the new head of Stellantis now that Carlos ran away. They want a quality, solid built one. They'll pay money for it. Americans pay money for their vehicles, but they expect something to last, not for a shaft to break and the thing doesn't go down the road in brand new vehicles. So here we go again. Lack of quality of Jeeps. They're recalling a bunch of them because the shafts might just fall right out while you're driving down the road. Oh, isn't that quality? So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.